Some people like me are still into pocket carry. I find it better and efficient, especially that there are instances where I don't like carrying too much bulk out in the open. Now, there are actually plenty of choices for these easy-to-vanish pistols, but if you're looking for new options to try, then I got you covered. What's up, everyone? This is your host, Ted from Line45, and today I am going to give you a rundown of the latest hot picks for concealed carry handguns for 2025 that are remarkable in their own right. Before anything else, let me do this quick plug. Hit the like and subscribe buttons, all the buttons that you can see below. Don't forget to leave a comment too. I know it feels like a hassle, but those things help my channel a lot. Now let's get back to the good stuff. Taurus 22 TUC. I gotta be honest, the Taurus 22 TUC really caught me by surprise. At first glance, it doesn't look like much. I mean, just take a look at how bland this gun is. But once you start handling it, you'll realize how well thought out this little piece actually is. For starters, it's chambered in 22 LR, which some people might scoff at for self-defense, but hear me out. This thing is an absolute dream for concealed carry. It's lightweight, super compact, and surprisingly reliable for a rimfire gun. So if you're in the market for a backup piece or just something small and easy to carry, the 22 TUC definitely deserves a spot on your radar. First off, I have to talk about the elephant in the room, which is its tip-up barrel. This is honestly one of the coolest features I've seen in a carry gun for a while. This isn't a new design, but it's still novel anyhow. In particular, the 22 TUC has a 2.5-inch stainless steel barrel that literally flips up, letting you load a round directly into the chamber without having to rack the slide. That's a really big help for people who might struggle with slide manipulation, or those who are looking for a simpler way to load the gun. Just pop the barrel up, drop a round in, and snap it back down. Done. It's perfect for folks with limited hand strength, and I really find it just flat-out convenient. This thing is featherweight. It's only 10 ounces unloaded. I mean, you can literally forget you're even carrying the gun, which is the very reason why you're buying a pocket pistol in the first place. But its frame is still made from high-strength polymer, which still feeling decently rugged while keeping its weight to a minimum. The slide and barrel are stainless steel, which gives it a bit of heft where it counts without turning it into a burden. Plus, stainless is always a good choice for resisting corrosion, especially if you're carrying it in humid or sweaty conditions. Taurus did a great job balancing lightweight carry with enough mass to make it feel solid. Size-wise, it's about 5 inches long, 4.35 inches tall, and just an inch wide, so it's a breeze to conceal, whether you're tucking it into a waistband holster, dropping it in your pocket, or even strapping it to your ankle. One thing I really appreciate about the 22 TUC is how shootable it is. Seriously, despite being a small gun, the recoil is practically non-existent, which simply makes sense since this gun is chambered in 22 long rifle. This should let you execute rapid follow-up shots in a breeze. Moreover, it has a double-action-only trigger that's surprisingly smooth for such a small gun. It's got a bit of a heavier pull, but honestly, that's not a bad thing on a carry gun. It helps prevent any accidental discharges, and once you get used to the pull, it's pretty predictable. And the best part? It has a double strike capability. If a round doesn't go off on the first pull, which let's be honest can happen with rimfire ammo, you just pull the trigger again. No messing around with the slide, and you're just always in action. Charter Arms Double Dog. The Charter Arms Double Dog is one of those new guns that made me do a double take. I mean, it's a double-barreled .357 Magnum revolver, for Pete's sake. Yes, I am not coping. This one is real and is an absolute beast. You're looking at two barrels stacked one on top of the other with a break-action design that lets you fire both barrels simultaneously. It's not your everyday snubby, that's for sure. But if you're looking for raw power and something that is as intimidating as it gets, the Double Dog is certainly the one that I can recommend. One of the coolest features of this little revolver is its break-action loading. Just flip the lever, pop the barrels open, and you're ready to drop in 2 fresh rounds. It's surprisingly fast and simple, and I find it quicker than fumbling with a swing-out cylinder. Plus, it's chambered in .357 Magnum, but you can also run it on .38 specials if you want to tame it down a bit, which I am sure you'll do along the way. Regardless, the fact that you're sending 2 rounds at once doesn't change, and that's a serious amount of lead in a single trigger pull. The trigger itself is double action only, and while it's a bit on the heavier side, it's smooth and predictable. Again, let me emphasize that such a mechanism is ideal for a self-defense revolver. This thing is built sturdily, as expected of Charter Arms, with a stainless steel frame that feels solid without being overly heavy. It's about 22 ounces, which is already light for the amount of material used on it. It's rugged, corrosion-resistant, and surprisingly balanced for what it is. The full-size rubber grip is another big factor that I want to point out. It renders a solid purchase that soaks up some of the recoil, and you'd think that shooting 2 Magnum rounds at once would be brutal, but trust me, it's way more controllable than I expected. Meanwhile, the fixed sights aren't anything fancy, just a front blade and a rear notch. But they get the job done for close-quarter situations, so there's no need to complain here. Honestly, carrying it is a bit of a mixed bag. It's compact enough for concealment, but that double-barrel design makes it bulkier than a typical snub nose. Hence, I suggest that you get a good holster to keep it from digging into your side. That said, it's worth it if you want a revolver that's truly unique and packs a mean punch. Savage Arms XR. When Savage Arms announced the XR, I'll admit that I didn't think much of it. Don't get me wrong. With so many micro-compact 9mm flooding the market right now, it's tough to get excited about yet another one. But the moment I got to try it already, I had to change my impressions right away. Basically, it's not just another cookie-cutter pocket gun. The XR is sleek, balanced, and just feels right in your hand. Savage went all out to make this thing practical without sacrificing performance, and it shows. If you're tired of snappy little pistols that feel more like a chore to shoot, then the 10-round XR might just be the one you're looking for. I'll get into the size because that's what we're after here anyway. The XR is about 6 inches long, just over 4 inches tall, and barely an inch wide. That's solid pocket territory right there. It weighs in at 18 ounces unloaded, which is light enough for all-day carry but still hefty enough to soak up some of its recoil. Keep in mind that this is a 9mm handgun, so expect some recoil from it. Anyway, you can slide it into a pocket holster or tuck it inside the waistband, and it just vanishes. This isn't going to be printing through your shirt or will let you feel that you're carrying a block into your side. It's comfortable, discreet, and seriously well-balanced. For me, one of the best things about the Savage Arms XR is its trigger. Savage went with a flat-faced, single-action trigger, which exhibits a clean, crisp break at about 5.5 pounds. It's light enough to make accurate shots, but not so touchy that you're worried about accidental discharges, which is a crucial factor for a gun you want to tuck in your pocket. The reset is short and positive, giving you quick follow-up shots without any weird mushiness. The slide is stainless steel with a matte black melanite finish, so it can actually deal with sweat, dirt, and daily abuse that comes with carrying. The slide serrations are aggressive enough to give you a solid grip without tearing up your hands. Plus, the high-visibility front sight and simple rear notch make target acquisition quick and easy. The sights are drift-adjustable too, so if you want to swap them out for night sights, it's no big deal. The polymer frame keeps it lightweight, and the grip texture strikes that sweet spot between sticky and comfortable. You get a nice high grip thanks to the molded beaver tail. So yeah, it's hard to ignore this gun. Canik Mete MC9L. I personally love the latest extensions of the Mete MC9 series of Canik, which are the Mete MC9L and MC9LS. These two were introduced in the market in the last months of 2024, prior to the release of the MC9 Prime we saw during the SHOT Show 2025. Now between the two, the Mete MC9L is a superior candidate for a pocket carry pistol, considering that it's a slightly smaller pistol than the LS model. It is also a proof that Canik is listening to concealed carriers who want a thin, high-capacity, optics-ready pistol without the usual trade-offs in shootability. If you've been eyeing micro-compacts but hate the snappy recoil and stubby grip, this pistol is certainly going to check a lot of boxes for you. First of, it's chambered in 9mm and boasts a 3.64-inch barrel, which is just long enough to smooth out recoil and boost muzzle velocity without making the gun too humongous for everyday carry. Unlike the original Mete MC9 model, the grip of the MC9L has more real estate. It's longer, giving you a full 3-finger hold, which makes a huge difference in recoil control. Canik didn't cut corners here. The grip texture is deeply stippled for a rock-solid purchase without being so aggressive that it chews up your skin on long carry days. The undercut trigger guard and high beaver tail are also sufficient since they can let you choke up on the gun, getting your bore axis lower and keeping the muzzle flip in check. You know, I made a separate video about the most impressive handguns that Canik ever made. I didn't include the Mete MC9 in that list. However, that doesn't mean that this is a gun you can piss on. You see, like all Canik guns, the MC9L features an exceptionally smooth trigger. The flat-faced, lightened aluminum trigger has an absurdly short take-up, a clean break, and a tactile reset. It's not a best-in-class trigger, but it's definitely awesome for a factory trigger. It has a striker-fired mechanism, which means you get a consistent trigger pull every time, with no long double-action travel like you'd find in some other CCW guns. The slide is precision-milled from steel and finished with Jennifer coating, making it highly resistant to corrosion and wear. Moreover, this slide is optics-ready out of the box. In particular, you'd love the MC9L due to its proprietary low-profile optic cut, as it's compatible with micro-red dots like the Shield R MSC, Holosun 507K, and Sig Romeo 0. If you're going to run it with iron sights, the factory steel sights are co-witness height, so you can still use them with a red dot mounted. Moreover, they're drift adjustable, and the front sight is high visibility for quick target acquisition. In the grand scheme, the MC9L is too packed for a concealed carry gun. While most slim CCW guns max out at 10 to 12 rounds, the MC9L ships with 15-round and 17-round magazines, and these two feature witness holes for easy round checks. That is nearly full-size firepower in a gun barely bigger than a Glock 43X. With all these perks, I don't see why this thing can't become the next big thing for the micro-compact market. Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0. The Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0 is what I'd really call a serious upgrade to a proven pocket pistol, or maybe the word serious is too heavy for you. Regardless, if you're looking for something that can disappear in your waistband or ride comfortably in a pocket holster without feeling that you're carrying a brick, the Bodyguard 2.0 can be best for you. Similar to the original model, the Bodyguard 2.0 is chambered in .380 ACP. Of course, I don't have the time to justify the effectiveness of the .380 ACP as a defensive caliber. If you find it weak, then simply skip the Bodyguard. But really, I have to be real with you. With the modern defensive ammo we have right now, a .380 ACP handgun can get the job done. Now, the Bodyguard 2.0 didn't depart that much from its predecessor in terms of its overall assembly. The overall length is just 5.3 inches and still features a 2.75-inch stainless steel barrel, which means you can drop this thing into a coat pocket and you'd barely notice it's there. The frame is polymer, as you might have expected, but not the kind that is cheap and glossy. No, not that. Instead, it's durable with aggressive stippling in all the right spots, so it can actually give you a solid purchase even with sweaty hands. And unlike some other micros, it's got a slightly extended beaver tail, which is surprisingly useful in keeping the muzzle down when you're firing it. Plus, I really appreciate that it has a rounded trigger guard, which prevents it from snagging on fabric when drawing or holstering. Now the Bodyguard 2.0 is a double-action-only hammer-fired pistol, which makes it a distinct choice among the pool of striker-fired carry guns today. Of course, there's something great about a hammer-fired defensive gun. The long, smooth trigger pull is intentional. It's roughly 7.5 to 8.5 pounds, which means that you won't accidentally trip it if something brushes the trigger in a pocket carry situation. And that also removes the need for a trigger blade safety here. Moreover, I have to sell the fact that as a hammer-fired gun, the Bodyguard would be less prone to light primer strikes, which is a real concern in micro-pistols with short firing pin travel. The stainless steel slide is coated in Smith & Wesson Armor Night finish, which keeps it from rusting up after daily carry. They also ditched the cheap plastic sights you usually see on pocket guns and replaced them with drift-adjustable steel sights with high-contrast white dots, giving you a real sight picture instead of some tiny, useless nubs. For me, that's a huge plus for a pistol this size. Magazine capacity is where the Bodyguard 2.0 really steps up, especially if you're going to compare it with the original model. It comes with two steel magazines, one flush-fit 10-rounder for ultra-deep concealment, and one 12-round extended mag that gives you a full grip without adding too much bulk. That's a lot of rounds for a pocket pistol, especially in .380 ACP, where most competitors top out at 6 or 7.